So, hello everybody. It is a nice, kind of mid-evening here in Central Florida. There's clouds over my head, so it's nice respite from that blazing sun. Whew, I'll tell you what, as soon as the clouds cover it, it's got to drop like 15 degrees, but either way, we have been roasting this month, July, but, normally very wet this time of year. There's my ground, bone dry. And normally this time of year, we are either flooded or at least getting rain basically every day. And we are not. But anyway, talking about one of the most productive, easiest to grow crops that I have. And those are, of course, the true yams, the Dioscorea. And this is the most widely planted one that I have. This is a purple ubi Dioscorea. It's a purple mutation of Dioscorea elata. And there are actually different strains of this. I have 4 of them. And this particular one is a male strain, so it does not produce really any bulbils, and it gets very large underground tubers on it. These are my plants that actually have a video of a 1-season tuber that was over 80 pounds. Yeah, very productive. And anyway, I'm just showing off how I plant them. My trellising is literally a T-post and a cattle panel. That is what I use. They used to be super cheap, You used to pay $2 for a T-post, 6-foot T-post, and $8 for an 8-foot cattle panel. Today, I believe these cattle panel are over $20. I think $25, $24.99 last time I checked. So they have more than tripled in price. And same with the T-posts. I think the T-posts are pushing $4 or $5 now in my area. I'm not sure if they're cheaper where you are. But, I've had these trellising T-posts. They don't go bad, And years ago, actually I think 2019, things super cheap. I went and bought me hundreds of T-posts and hundreds of cattle panels. And yeah, these are my trellising. But back to the yams, there you go. You can see there's a nice beautiful row there. Coming through and weeding these. And this will all be mulched, remulched. I do this every year, guys. It may not look at that sand right there, may not look it, but every year these yams are mulched with either, free mulch from the tree companies or leaves or grass clippings or tittonia, and you couldn't even tell that. Florida just eats mulch. It just disappears. And anyway, talking about, like I said, one of the most productive crops that I grow. They're very nutritious. It's a root crop. They're made for storage for the plant, so they pump tons of nutrition into it. And it's very tasty. These purple strains are very nutty. If you freshly harvest them and cook them, they can have a light sweetness to them. If they've been in storage, which they can store bone dry on your counter literally for months, 4, 5, 6 months, pushing the 5, 6 months is when they'll start sprouting naturally. And even then, if you just cut off the sprouts and plant it, you can have a whole tuber that will stay on your counter for months on end. You just slice off what you want to cook or eat. Yeah, really awesome crops. And again, I'm picking on my purple here because this is one of my favorites. But they, of course, come in white, yellow, orange, purple, obviously. And those are all cultivars of Dioscorea elata. If you go to the store, which they're still pretty hard to find, you can find Dioscorea rotundata, which is, either white, creamy white, or there are some yellow lines of that. And then there's Dioscorea canadiensis, which is a Caribbean African yellow yam. That one's yellow or orange, though you can find again a white strain of that. But you can tell the difference between that because those are not as easy to grow as the alata and the rotundata. But there you go. I'm gonna try and keep this short and sweet for you guys. But you can see I plant them fairly close. This entire trellis here, this 8-foot panel alone right here, has double plantings, one on each side, and they are put about a foot apart. And this single 8-foot trellis right here will yield me about 100 pounds of Dioscorea roots. Yeah, tubers, delicious yams. Very productive, and basically zero care. I do not water these. I do not really fertilize them. The most they get is I run the chickens and ducks through here at the end of every year, so they're getting, you know, the nutrition from that. And well, if you want much larger roots, a little bit of care, and these guys will give you absolutely unbelievable yields. I said I'll get 100 pounds off that 8-foot trellis there, planted on both sides. If that was irrigated, mulched, and me taking care of it, and planted early, right as soon as you can plant those, that 8-foot there would easily be 200 to 400 pounds of roots, and I'm not exaggerating at all. We're coming into August right now, and normally you can see these trellises are still pretty clear. They will reach across, and come September, October, these guys will have filled this entire trellis. They'll have reached over, they'll have covered the ground. This will be an entire just spot of nothing but yams, which I'll turn around and actually show you where ones that have been in since the beginning of the year. And there you go. The trellis I was just showing you, those were planted about a month ago. And these ones right here, let me shade my eyes. There you go, see all those yams? Yeah, these were put in the beginning of the season. You can see absolute wall of yams. You cannot walk through them. They are just, I mean, trellis to trellis. There is, hang on, let me shade the camera here so I can actually see what I'm pointing at, because the sun's behind me. There is 4 trellises that way. This one in the center here I did not plant yet, but it'll get weeded and get ready to get planted. But those 4 trellises that way, 4 trellis rows, are completely nothing but yams. You cannot walk between them, you can't, or anything. Look at, yeah, you see the, there's my finger, let me see, there's my finger go there, oop, there's my finger. All that right there, those are all yams, guys. And the reason these are, and actually if you look up, that tree right there, I was going to get my finger in here, get up, right there, that tree right there is also consumed by yams. Yeah, we have such a long season here that if you plant these early enough, these start sprouting naturally around April-ish, May-ish. You know, the different varieties have different dormancy periods, strong dormancy. Like I said, they will sit there for 4, 5, 6 months doing nothing, and then all of a sudden they'll sprout and just explode in growth. A lot of people buy yams from me and they're like, they're not growing. I bought them from you 3 months ago. You sold me dead roots. Like, no, they're alive. They weren't ready to grow. But that's, again, amazing for food storage. You can store them with no special care on your counter. Just lop off, like I said, what you want to eat. And that's truly an amazing crop. You can't do that with potatoes. They'd go rotten or they'd sprout and then you can't eat them. But just boom, full on season. And these guys will not die back until, November going into December in my areas when they naturally start dying back. And I am not kidding you. Let me back up some. This is what you are seeing in yams. All that. There are, that way, 4 complete trellis rows, 50 feet long, I think that's actually 60 feet I got. 60-foot rows. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? 6, 6 times 8, and then there's 2 foot there. Yeah, so they're 60-foot rows, and that is massive. Just unbelievable amounts of food. And the only thing I have to do is dig them up at the end of the year, lop off a few pieces to save for next year, and yeah, boom. Or I can just leave them in if I don't want to harvest them, and they just come back every year. But I eat so much, and my animals eat so much, and I sell to a few places, so just untold amounts of food. And they're basically on cheapo trellises, double planted. This is probably, this year I've never planted this much, just the way things are. I will easily get for probably about 2 tons of roots off literally this. I'm not even kidding. And if you don't believe me, grow yams yourself, guys. Yeah, easily. Definitely over a ton of roots. And basically no space, okay? This is, gosh, I don't even know how many square feet. You want to, count them intergrowing between the rows. 60. That's probably 20, whatever the square footage of, is 60 on 2 sides and 20 on the other 2. Figure it out for me, somebody. And yeah, that's over a ton of food. Way over a ton of food, guys. Just outstanding, mind-blowing yields on yams. This purple, like I said, is extremely productive, but also the white variety. It's basically the same, just one's purple, and you can see it in the leaves. Beautiful. I grow mostly purple because it tastes good and it's purple. Purple power, guys, right? Super nutritious, full of antioxidants and vitamins and minerals and calories, and super easy to grow, super tasty, productive. I know I keep saying it, but beyond imagination. Why aren't you growing yams, guys? You can grow them anywhere, in the ground or in pots. This particular, the purple. Now some yams, this video is going to be long, hopefully you guys are still watching. Some yams are day length sensitive. They will not start forming tubers until the days start getting shorter. But 2 of the 4 purple strains that I have are day length neutral. So they basically, after about a month of in the ground, start forming tubers regardless. And there are also white varieties that do that. I've got even more white varieties. I think I've got 5 or 6 white a lot of varieties. I've got males and females and cultivated name varieties, stuff like that. And those ones, there's a couple that are day length neutral or have a bit day length neutrality to them as well. And those are really good for farther up north, of course. That way you can get more for your buck and planting space before the days and get cooler and everything. And yeah, what else can I say? I grow a lot of yams. I collect all manner of things. Once I decide to grow something, I collect tons of it. And all together, I've got 9 different species of yams and 20, 30 cultivars of those different species, maybe more. I don't know, I'm not counting. I count. And they're just amazing crops overall. And it's a shame that they're not more widely grown and utilized here in the U.S. because again, just super easy. And under more intensive cultivation, even more than what I'm doing here, you could get away with possibly not even trellising these guys, just putting them in the ground and letting them run. You know, and you fill an acre, I can't even imagine the yields you could get off an acre of yams if you actually fertilized the ground, prepared the ground, you know. Just mind-blowing yields on those. But anyway, guys, I think I've yacked enough about these amazing yams and, you know, my crazy, you know, shaky camera skills. And I'm just out here actually planting more yams. I stagger my plantings throughout the year. The earlier I plant them, the larger my tubers are, my root harvest. And because I also sell them, I plant some later in the year. Like now, we're going in August. And these ones I'm planting now will be perfect seed tuber size. They're, you know, they'll be anywhere from a poundish, depending on how heavy I plant them, to, you know, about 5-6 ounces to a pound, 2 pounds, 3-4 pounds, versus 10, 15, 20, 30, 40. Some of these guys over here, I do not doubt will be pushing 60, 70 pounds. I doubt I'll have any true monsters, because the one monster I did harvest, the video I have of, was a standalone. So it was much more, you know, didn't have as much competition. But these guys, as heavily planted as they are, but if you give them a long enough season, you still easily get 20, 30 pound roots on them. Just absolutely awesome. So that's that, guys. If you are looking for yams to eat or to grow your own, yeah, you can find them in stores. You know, they sell them. They're pretty readily available today. If you have a little ethnic section, though they don't always grow. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Especially because they're imported. You can either catch it at the beginning of its dormancy or at the end of its dormancy, you know, depending on where it's coming from. Southern hemisphere, you know, remember they're flipped with us, so we are getting their harvest, you know, when it's their winter. So some of those yams in the store have a dormancy clock on it that's still 4, 5, 6 months out, and then you're trying to plant them for us and they're not wanting to sprout until it's winter. So that can be a big issue sometimes. And again, sometimes they wax them, and that actually can burn the outer layer, the growing tissue of the yam, which will prevent them from sprouting. Sometimes they put growth inhibitors on them, just like actual potatoes. So there's a myriad of issues you can run into with yams from the store. But if you do find it and you get to sprout, definitely grow it, because you cannot beat the productivity and the ease of these guys. And I think I've even actually seen some purple sneaking into the stores. You know, that's grown on a much smaller scale. I don't know why, honestly. It's just as productive, if not more productive, than some of the cultivated types. But either way, this is a crop, I mean, should be hands down grown everywhere. Flavor, depending again on the variety and the cultivar, can be spot on for a potato, or slightly sweeter, kind of like a sweet potato, or slightly more dry, slightly wetter. Again, there's a range, just like there are of potatoes. You know, so you can find one to suit your likes, no problem. And again, you know, you can stick them in pots and grow them anywhere. And if you're anywhere in the, basically what's considered the South, or over in the desert, you can grow these with no issue. Up north, if you got cooler nights, stick them in a big tub. I mean, literally, you do it at the beginning of your growing season, that big tub, by the end of the year, give it something to climb up, of course, or just let it sprawl. You can harvest and pull out of there 20, 30, 40 pounds. No problem. No problem. And they have released yam beetles, of course, here in Florida that eat the Dioscorea bulbifera. There are edible versions of that. And those beetles seem to fluctuate. We had a nice cold winter this year, and thankfully it knocked back those yam beetles heavily because they're killing my freaking yams, right? They go and they munch on the bulbifera, but they don't kill them. So, you know, and by the way, once they're done chewing on the wild bulbifera that you can't eat, you know, they go and they start moving other plants. And go ahead and tell me they don't, you know, Mr. Frickin' Biologist, because I've seen it, and I've got video of it, and I've got them in my frickin' yard eating my pea vines and everything. Ah, frickin', you know, scientists think they know what they're talking about. Let's release this beetle. It's only gonna eat the yams. Yep, not. And then it goes and eats the frickin', the important crop, you know, the white rotundata and the elata that are grown commercially. Even in South Florida, you can find fields of them. And now you got to spray for freaking yam beetles. I won't get into that. But see you later, guys. 20-minute video. Props to you if you watch this whole thing about yams. Me sitting here yakking about them. Grow yams. Grow food, guys. Love you. Check out the links and stuff below. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for watching. I love you guys. Grow food, grow food, grow food. Grow super productive, tasty, delicious yams. Get hold of me if you're looking for any. I am planting out the last of my stock now, but they are harvested, you know, anywhere between November and April. When I get around to it. And those are prime for growing stock, guys. Love you. See you later. Grow food. Take care of yourself and your family. And look at them freaking yam monsters. Boom. Just so much food. Delicious food. Fried yam, boiled yam, baked yam, yam bread, yam pie, you know, yam smoothies with boba in it, you know, yam pancakes, yam waffles, you know, fermented yam. Yam ice cream. Oh, yam ice cream, guys, with the purple, the ubi here. Purple yams. Freaking amazing, the purple yam ice cream. Good stuff. You know, yam custard, yam flan, yam macaroons, macarons, whatever you want to say. Yam muffins, yam cake, yam frosting. Yes. Yam cookies. Just endless, you know, and on the savory side, you know, just mashed yams and butter, you know, French fried yams. What else? Wow. Yeah, roasted yam and pork. If you're out, you know, camping, you just take a whole yam and just toss it on the fire, let it roast, and just peel it. Oh, eat it. Delicious. 25-minute video. Comment below if you watch this whole thing. Props to you, because I bet you're going to be growing yams and growing food. And when everybody else is not, and they're wondering what they're going to eat, you can be happy knowing that you're growing yams that are basically a one-for-one substitute for potatoes. Though I'd say more nutritious and definitely easier to grow. Yes, the rooster's agreeing. Love you guys. Bye.